Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What do you think is the biggest truth the world is refusing to face right now? Many of us are addicted to technology and the internet, and it is negatively impacting our attention spans and our ability to discern true from false. Carl Sagan wrote about this in 1995. I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time, when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide, almost without noticing, back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of American is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media, the 30-second sound bites, now down to 10 seconds or less, lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance. Man, I really wish we were dealing with fucking crystals and horoscopes instead of little lying addiction machines, lol. The rich and powerful are actively protecting pedophiles. The rich and powerful are actively protecting pedophiles. Rich people never going to face any punishments for their crimes. People in the Epstein files walking free is actually crazy. Whatever happened to good old mob justice? Did we run out of tar and feathers? Kids being raised by cell phones and tablets will have actual consequences. Has had, actually. I teach. They're apathetic and antisocial at large. They will complain that the group isn't working with them, but won't have actually engaged anyone. They won't know more than a few classmates' names. They won't do small favors for one another like pick up a pencil. Teenagers have always been hard, but veteran teachers see the difference. That the world order we've grown used to is gone, it's never coming back, and what's coming is going to be a lot harder for everyone except the elite. In the short and medium term, you are probably right. In the long term, this level of wealth disparity coupled with wars that will inevitably come from deglobalization of trade is a recipe for serious civil unrest. The first targets when that all goes down will be the most obvious beneficiaries of the systems in place. In short, bunkers won't be enough for them. There is a huge mental health crisis, probably exacerbated by the internet. Not just exacerbated, but caused by. I was basically raised by the internet from age 12, now 37, due to a neglectful, mentally ill single parent, and I'm messed up both from the sheer isolation and also from the amount of toxicity and hostility. As a parent, I second this. Kids can't get away from anything that happens during the day. 80/90ths kids, when something shitty happened at school, you went home. Maybe stayed inside, or just hung with friends. Now, it's online, and it never ends. And if you don't give your kid internet access, they're weird. They're inundated with shit constantly, and there is no clear path. Plus the unmonitored absolute filth we were able to find at 12 on the internet. I remember watching Saddam hang when I was like 14. The horror, catastrophe movies were right. We can have scientists yelling at our faces and we will not accept their messaging. People keep electing politicians who are not serious about stopping the climate crisis. We have known what's feeding this catastrophe for decades. Even the fossil fuel industry has given up denying it years ago, and still we just keep on racing towards the cliff. There's one monologue from Tomorrowland where Nix, played by Hugh Laurie, puts it the best way to word it. Let's imagine, if you glimpsed the future, you were frightened by what you saw, what would you do with that information? You would go to the politicians, captains of industry, and how would you convince them? Data, facts, good luck. The only facts they won't challenge are the ones that keep the wheels greased and the dollars rolling in. But what if there was a way of skipping the middleman and putting the critical news directly into everyone's head? The probability of widespread annihilation kept going up. The only way to stop it was to show it, to scare people straight. Because, what reasonable human being wouldn't be galvanized by the potential destruction of everything they've ever known or loved? To save civilization, I would show its collapse. But, how do you think this vision was received? How do you think people responded to the prospect of imminent doom? They gobbled it up like a chocolate eclair. They didn't fear the demise, they repackaged it. It could be enjoyed as video games, as TV shows, books, movies. The entire world wholeheartedly embraced the apocalypse and sprinted towards it with gleeful abandon. Meanwhile, your Earth was crumbling all around you. You've got simultaneous epidemics of obesity and starvation. Explain that one. Bees and butterflies start to disappear, the glaciers melt, algae blooms. All around you the coal mine canaries are dropping dead, and you won't take the hint. In every moment there's the possibility of a better future, but you people won't believe it. And because you won't believe it, you won't do what is necessary to make it a reality. So, you dwell on this terrible future. You resign yourselves to it for one reason, because that future does not ask anything of you today. So yes, we saw the iceberg and warned the Titanic, but you all just steered for it anyway, full steam ahead. Why? Because you want to sink. 100%. Let's imagine someone, in this case a man, on the Titanic foresaw the iceberg collision. What would they do to prepare? Secure themselves life jacket and get to a lifeboat early. Someone, probably a staff member, would take the life jacket off them and give it to someone else, maybe even an aristocrat, and force them, perhaps at gunpoint, to exit their spot on the life raft. As a species we're fucked. A silent knowing that AI and technology is developing too fast. We're rushing to build tools before deciding how they should be used. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. Quote, and the creators, owners, leadership of AI are some of the worst people in the world. Not just in the word, but in the rest of the office too. It's being developed irresponsibly and exemplifies a regression. Most people already know deep down that endless scrolling is quietly wrecking our attention spans, yet nobody wants to log off first. I'm trying really hard, but it's getting difficult. Definition of addiction. There are fucked up groups of people who use religion as scapegoat for their fucked up behaviors. We actually do have enough for everyone. We can take care of the sick, house the unhoused, feed the hungry, you name it. Will we? No, we will not. Elon Musk alone could end world hunger. Instead he launches rockets into space. It's worse, he just shitposts on Twitter. He doesn't do anything, but continues to amass wealth and influence. The difference between a billion and a million is so much greater than most people realize. It's a concept of a size that's too large to comprehend easily. Like distances in space. For the million versus billion, the easiest way to get it is a million seconds is 11.5 days and a billion seconds is 32 years 8 months. All that to say no one earns $1 billion. I heard once we should make it so no one can when you get to 999,999,999 you get a trophy saying you won capitalism. That most of our problems aren't really new, we're just better at distracting ourselves from them now. I'll add to this, the distractions we love and feel we can no longer live without are not necessarily a good thing. Am I the only one who remembers people in the late 90s to early 2000s talking about internet addiction and how it will rot your brain? Now it's all we have. Climate change has already gone past the point of no return and there will be massive consequences resulting in the displacement of hundreds of millions. This is partly true, but I will urge everyone, don't read this and think there's no point trying anymore. It's very clear that climate change is not a binary problem. We don't fully mitigate it or have the worst case. There are grades of catastrophe. Every 0.1 degree or less could be the difference between one tipping point being hit or not. How this is not the absolute top answer also scares the shit out of me. The world is burning up and nobody is doing shit about it. Every single issue in the world is irrelevant in the face of climate change killing us all before the next generation can even reach voting age. We're not doing nothing, we're doubling down. Every day, we dump more carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. 2026 will out-emit 2025, as 2025 out-emit 2024, and so on, up to 1800. And as a species, we largely shrug. Given the choice, we'll burn fossil fuels to the last drop, and then some. You know what's really gonna suck? All this apathy toward climate change like it's the future's problem to deal with. Imagine if reincarnation is the real deal, and we keep coming back life after life to a world that continues to devolve into a more nightmarish hellscape every iteration. The older I get the more I wish any sort of karma, afterlife were real. I don't believe they are, but it would make me feel a whole lot better. We're being ruled by idiots. Majority rule doesn't work in mental institutions, NOFX. We fucked up big time. Many were increasingly of the opinion that they'd all made a big mistake coming down from the trees in the first place, and some said that even the trees had been a bad move, and that no one should ever have left the oceans. Quote, in the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. Some violence is necessary in order to preserve a society that ostracizes violence. You need me on that wall. Quote, we use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as a backbone of a life spent defending something, you use them as punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. Edit, yes, I'm sad enough to know that monologue off by heart. Well, it's a really good monologue. Oscar worth, almost. That people are extremely susceptible to coercion and manipulation and that the only way to fight that is through education. It's not a coincidence that the world and people's thoughts and behavior have gotten significantly worse, more hateful in the past 10 years. Sadly, the people most susceptible to manipulation and coercion will tell you that they're really pretty smart, and like to say that they like to question things. Being a contrarian doesn't mean you're actually intelligent or even understanding the concept you're arguing against. When a scientist says the moon is responsible for the tides, it's not intelligent to question their statement. That is not a sign of intelligence or discernment. I say this because there are many people in my life who I truly believe are good people who follow this mindset. I can't write a dissertation confronting their logical fallacies, and even if I did, the reality is their eyes would glaze over and they'd reject it anyways because they likely couldn't follow anyways. Doesn't mean they're bad people. You don't have to be smart to be a good person. Plenty of very smart people are the epitome of evil. Being contrarian isn't intelligent if you don't truly understand the argument you're taking a stance against. But sadly, intelligence means you actually have awareness that you don't understand. Unintelligent people don't clock in the fact that they don't actually understand, which is why they are confused and why they feel the need to be contrarian and challenge. You can explain why the earth is round using math and observation. Ancient people, even at the cusp of formal writing, already knew and understood this. Modern people who rely on contrarian thought and photographs would never be able to follow the mathematical and observational reality that early humans knew thousands of years ago without any technology. I don't question it because I'm smart enough to know that this shit was figured out a long time ago. A passionate argument full of gotcha moments, false equivalencies, and photographic evidence doesn't stand up against thousands of years of fucking math. But you will never convince the trailer park people of that. Even with the equations and dissertation, stupid is as stupid does.